All right, thanks, guys. Anton Boyko takes on Ruslan Onischenko in some international table tennis cup action. This is going to be a 7:35 p.m. Eastern start time, as Boyko's the $1.25 favorite, Onischenko's -115. Now, Boyko's coming fresh off a tough 3-2 loss to Kuznetsov in his last outing. That said, though, he's still been victorious in 2 out of his last 3, including a solid 3-1 victory over our team during that span. Now, I went a perfect 4-0 in my premium sports picks yesterday on patreon.com/BrockPage. And of course, that's a website where I sell sports pick subscriptions, beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. I'm also 4-1 in my last 5 Underdog tier package plays on that website as well. Good for 80% during that span. Link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. Anton Boyko's 6-2 record in his last 8 is good for 75% during that span. He also garnered 3 shutout victories during those 6 wins. His 10-3 record in his last 13 is also good for a win percentage of .769. So this might not be a bad spot here for Anton Boyko. Give me Anton -$1.25, getting the job done for some money line cash. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for Wednesday's table tennis action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just have to quickly remind you once again that I went 4-0 yesterday in my premium sports picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. 4-0 yesterday in those 4 picks. And that's a website where I sell really great sports pick subscriptions beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. There's also a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. One of those packages is called the Daily Best Play tier membership. It's only $1.99 through the end of the month. You'll get 1 sports pick every single day. And I'm hitting at 8-4 in my last dozen picks in that category. I strongly recommend you consider using the website for sports picks. They're my personal plays, games that I personally have action on. And once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that said, let's go ahead and dive into some more free content right here on YouTube. And we're going to take a look at Vitaly Solovey taking on Maxim Zhuralov in a 8:05 p.m. start time. Max has been victorious in 2 out of his last 3, including a solid 3-0 shutout victory over Vasilchuk during that span. He also beat our team handily by the final of 3-1 during that stretch as well. His 6-2 record in his last 8 is good for a win percentage of .750. He also shut out his opponent 3 times during that stretch as well. Max is taking on a Solovey opponent who's coming fresh off an embarrassing 3-0 shutout loss to Gorilov in his last outing himself. He was also beaten by Turchenko 3-2 within his last handful of matchups as well. This should actually be a pretty good matchup, although I'm going to go ahead and give the slight edge to Zhuralov. So with all that said and done, give me Maxim Zhuralov winning this one outright in a close one. Next matchup, it is going to be Anton Boyko back on the table, this time taking on, you guessed it, Vitaly Solovey, and that's going to be an 8:35 p.m. Eastern start time. Solovey's plus $1.10 on the money line, Boyko's -150. Boyko's 6-2 record in his last 8 is good for 75% during that span. He also garnered 3 shutout victories during those 6 wins. His 10-3 record in his last 13 is also good for a win percentage of .769. Solovey on the other side is coming fresh off an embarrassing 3-0 shutout loss to Gorilov in his last outing himself. He was also beaten by Turchenko 3-2 within his last handful of matchups as well. Solovey should make this one competitive as well, but I'm going to give the very slight advantage to Boyko. So with all that said and done, give me Anton Boyko -150, getting the job done for some money line cash. All right, next contest, it is going to be Max Zhuralov taking on Vlad Volokov in a 9:05 p.m. Eastern start time. Vlad's won 2 out of his last 3, including an impressive 3-0 shutout victory over Setka during that span. He also beat our team 3-1 during that stretch as well. His 5-2 record in his last 7 is good for 71% during that span. He also defeated the likes of Kyulo and Zhuralov during those contests. And speaking of Max Zhuralov, he's coming fresh off an embarrassing 3-0 shutout loss to Gladdick during his last outing. He also dropped 2 out of his last 4 as well. This should be another one of those competitive matchups, but I do have to give the slight angle to Volokov in this spot here. Give me Vlad Volokov winning this one straight up in a competitive contest. All right, next matchup I have for you, it is going to be in the International Ukraine Setka Cup. And we're going to go ahead and start off with Sergey Sokolov taking on Vlad Litvinov in a 4:25 Eastern start time. Litvinov is coming off a tough 3-1 defeat to Dmitry Ichenko in his last outing. He also dropped 3 out of his last 4, including a 3-2 loss to Max Marchuk during that stretch as well. He's taking on a Sokolov opponent who shut out Roman Genovi 3-0 in his last match. He's also currently on a 6-match winning streak with shutout victories in 3 out of those contests. He did beat the likes of Genovi, Maxim, and Lebedev during that span, so this does look like a pretty good spot for Sergey backers here. Give me Sergey Sokolov getting the job done on the money line. All right, next contest, it is going to be Pavlo Kovalchuk squaring off against Dmitry Zaporozhets in a 4:50 p.m. Eastern start time. Dmitry's coming off a humiliating 3-0 loss to Ole in his last contest. Matter of fact, he's currently on a 2-match losing streak, with both of those losses coming by way of shutout. Dmitry's 1-5 record in his last 6 is good for a win percentage of just 166 during that very short span. His 2-9 record in his last 11 is good for just 18% during that stretch as well. He was shut out 5 times during the very aforementioned span of contests. He's taking on a Kovalchuk opponent who's won 2 out of his last 3 himself, including a solid 3-2 victory over Gonchurak during those matches. He also beat Vasco 3-1 during that span as well. He's been victorious in 4 out of his last 5, along with going 8-4 straight up in his last dozen. Give me Pavlo Kovalchuk winning this one outright for some moneyline cash. All right, next contest, it is going to be in Russia Liga Pro. And we're going to go ahead and start with Andrei Sadkov squaring off against Dmitry Basmanov in a 6:30 p.m. Eastern start time. Basmanov's the $1.25 underdog, Sadkov's -175. But despite being significantly favored here, Sadkov's dropped 2 out of his last 4 matches, including a 3-2 loss to Andrei Babkin. He also lost 3-2 to Ivan Pander during that stretch. His 4-5 record in his last 9 is good for just 44% during that span. Meanwhile, Basmanov on the other side is coming fresh off a challenging 3-2 victory over Ivan Pander. He's also currently on a 5-match winning streak with marquee victories over Pander, Medalchenko, and Babkin, just to name a few. His 9-1 record in his last 10 is good for 90% during that stretch. His 12-3 record in his last 15 is good for a win percentage of 800 during that span as well. This looks like a pretty nice spot to catch some plus money here. Give me Dmitry Basmanov winning this one outright for some plus money cash. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Vlad Shirokov taking on Ying Dimich in a 6:30 p.m. start time. Dimich is the $1.40 favorite, Shirokov's plus $1. Vlad is coming off a tough 3-1 defeat to Frolov in his last match. He's also currently on a 5-match losing streak with losses to the likes of Frolov, Dimich, and Abramov, just to name a few. His 3-13 record in his last 16 is good for just 18% during that long stretch. He's taking on a Dimich opponent who's won his last contest 3-2 over Kirill Abramov. He's also currently on a 3-match win streak with victories over Shirokov and Frolov during that span as well. Looks like a pretty good spot for D-Mitch here. Give me Ying D-Mitch winning this one straight up in a competitive contest. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Wednesday to you. Happy Hump Day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.